Hey everybody, Joel Peterson here with the Crypto Code. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. I've got a special guest here, Mr. Max Wright. How you doing, Max?
I'm doing really well, Joel. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for jumping here on the channel today. Everyone, I've been super excited to bring Max back on the line. I think we did an interview a couple of years ago, but it's time to bring him back on here and talk about Bitcoin, kind of where we're at in the markets, but also talk about what you can do with your Bitcoin wealth or your crypto wealth that you're gaining and kind of take it over to like a bigger picture of how to increase that wealth with other ways. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But Max, for those of you that don't know who you are, just give us a brief highlight of who you are and then tell us a little bit about your story. You've got kind of an interesting story when you got started into Bitcoin.
Yeah, sure. So, first got involved in Bitcoin in late 2012. There was, yeah, Bitcoin price was about $10. And me being a show off and know it all, got introduced about this Bitcoin thing. And the only reason I bothered learning about it was to tell those silly people that their magic internet money could never work. And it didn't take me long. I was fortunately had a very smart and good mentor, and every criticism I had, he had an answer for it. And eventually, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the future. This is going to take over the world. This is it. And so I went all in. I was a young man at the time, put in whatever money I had, and it turned out great for a few months because if you'll remember, 2013 was one of those boom years. Went from like $10 to $1,200. But a good chunk of the way through that year, I actually had 1,400 Bitcoins stolen. It was the early days. It was the Wild West. That was the year Mount Gox went down, I believe. It was either that year or the following year. I didn't lose it in Mount Gox. I lost it another way. There was a million different ways to lose your Bitcoin back then. It was a wild time. So then I'm like, oh man, this is brutal. I've still got a lot of conviction in this, and I had like because I knew a few people who had lost money with Mount Gox, and they were like, well, screw this crypto thing. I'm never going. I'm never touching it again. Fortunately for me, despite the hurt and the heartache and the pain of losing 1,400 Bitcoin, I was like, no, like just because I screwed up doesn't mean Bitcoin's going to screw up. I'm still going all in. I scrounged up as much money as I could, put it into Bitcoin, and I've obviously done very well ever since. So that's been really good. But then I also just that was my background. What I did was I created courses and teach people whatever that I'm passionate about. I just create courses and teach people about it. I've been selling those courses. That's how I've made my living for the last like almost 20 years now.
Wow, amazing.
And
By
so
the way,
yeah, I
by the
go
way,
for it.
those of you that are watching, I'm sure you just took your calculator out and you're looking at the current Bitcoin price about what 1,400 Bitcoin would be. I'm not even going to tell you. You guys can do that on your own.
Don't
But
tell me. I stopped looking years ago. I don't want
we
to.
we would have to call you Mr. Right if you still had those. Anyways, continue on.
So so anyway, I ended up making a Bitcoin course, which is teaching people how to buy Bitcoin and get involved in Bitcoin the safe way, and that became a huge seller and was hugely popular. And so yeah, I've been around the Bitcoin space for a very long time. Is a long way to say that.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing your story. I've known Max for quite a while now, and it's been great. We get on and we chat about the markets and where we're going. He's an educator as well, great educator, has helped really hundreds and hundreds of people get onboarded to Bitcoin and not just get onboarded to Bitcoin, but really kind of get onboarded to wealth creation. So let's talk about Bitcoin really quick, where we kind of maybe see prices going. No one can predict the future, but and then after that, let's go ahead and segue into talking about creating long-term wealth with your Bitcoin and with other types of assets. So yeah, let's talk about the Bitcoin price right now and in general is where we're going.
Sure. I mean, it is just a very, very exciting time. So let's go through that a little bit. Um, having been in the space for such a long time and seen all of the friction and the animosity, and one of the biggest arguments we always get was the government will never let you do this. They'll come for you. They'll never let Bitcoin be successful. Yada yada yada. And it was always a really big worry. And now all of that risk is just completely gone. We have a completely pro Bitcoin president, a completely pro Bitcoin cabinet, a completely, well, I would say completely, but a rather pro crypto, let's call it Congress. And so they have laid out for us sort of their plan over the kind of the next 12 months, the Trump administration I'm talking about, and some things that are coming that I don't think people have fully thought through and understand. So what they said was we're going to attack crypto in Congress through three a three-step process. Step one is going to be the Stablecoin Act. Step two is going to be the Bitcoin Act, and then step three, we're going to try and figure out how to regulate this minefield that is altcoins. So the Stablecoin Act is basically complete. I believe it's getting voted on in Congress, this week or next week or something like that, and it's going to regulate stablecoins. And that's a huge step forward. Again, just following through on what was promised, and it's going to be fantastic. All right, that's fun. But what is really exciting for me, can you make money? For the people who invent stablecoins, fantastic, they're going to make a lot of money. But for Joe Schmo out there, for me, for you, that's not a world where we can make money. It's a useful tool, it's a valuable tool, but whatever, we can't really make much money on that. Bitcoin is the next one coming, and here's what kind of everybody is expecting, and we kind of have a lot of clues from what to expect too, because when they pass the Bitcoin bill, let's call it that, it's got to integrate with all the different things and mechanisms and agencies in the U.S. government. And so we've already seen like Freddie and Fannie, which is obviously the mortgage companies, the government-run mortgage companies. They've changed their policies now where you can include someone's crypto holdings to understand their net wealth, to take a snapshot of where their financials are. You were never able to include that. So that becomes really interesting. But here's where it gets really, really exciting. What's going to happen, was pretty much all but guaranteed, is that banks are going to be allowed to custody your Bitcoin. Now, why is that super exciting? The reason that is super exciting is because what that will mean is we will be able to borrow against our net worth in Bitcoin. Okay, so it's just normal standard practice. If you have $1 million, $5 million, $10 million at, say, JP Morgan or any of the other major banks, in stock, in Tesla stock or whatever, anything, doesn't matter. The banks will lend you money against your net wealth. It's just like, well, we can just liquidate your stocks and take it back. So it's a no risk loan for them. Often it's even lower than mortgage rates, because with a house, you got to put it on the market. Maybe you get your money back, maybe you don't. With a stock, as soon as it comes down, you just liquidate it and you get your money back. And it's a risk-free loan for banks. So here's the cool part. There's been no really good way to lend, not through no regulated entities, through no insured entities, through none of that stuff. And so there's been no way for people with Bitcoin to borrow against their Bitcoin in what I would say is a very good, safe way. The Michael Saylors of the world who have done it, but he's got access to tools and things that the average person does not. This will bring Bitcoin lending into the mainstream and available to everybody. Why is that so important? Every single Bitcoiner on the planet, all of the big hodlers, they've all had this experience, which is at some point you hold your Bitcoin for a cycle or two, you've achieved this wonderful 1000x, 10,000x, awesome. But it's this magic internet money it lives on the internet. You don't get to use it unless you sell it. And now you don't have any Bitcoin. That's no good. But at some point you do. You'll say, listen, I've been diligent. I've delayed gratification. It's time for a big payout. I'm taking the big vacation. I'm buying the big house. I'm buying the big car. I'm doing something. And you get this awesome, cool gift in your life, whatever you bought yourself, right? And then 3, 4, 5 years later, you're like, oh my God, that car cost me $20 million. Or that vacation that was a really good vacation for a month cost me $30 million. You're like, oh my God, this is just the worst thing ever. I'll never, ever, ever spend my Bitcoin again. And this is the mentality of all of the people I know like me. It's all about accumulating as much Bitcoin as you can. You never want to sell it, but you also don't get to use it.
Right.
This comes into play. So what I'm saying is that something that I don't think people have thought through is that once Bitcoin can be custodied by banks, and once you can borrow against it, just like Bill Gates doesn't sell Microsoft shares to buy a mansion, he borrows against his Microsoft shares to buy his mansion. That's what all the Bitcoiners are going to do too. And all of a sudden, you're going to see the supply vanish. If you need money, even like let's say you lose your job, lose your business, something goes bad in your life, but you're sitting on millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Bitcoin, you got to sell it. But now, when this comes, and it's expected to come maybe as soon as this year, if not very, very early next year, when the Bitcoin bill passes, the supply, the amount of people who are willing to sell their Bitcoin, in my opinion, is going to plummet. And that means just the price is going to take off like a rocket. So nothing but bullish sentiment for me for the next kind of, let's call it 6 to 12 months in Bitcoin. It's going to be very, very exciting. And then when that bill passes, I think you're going to see, as people start to understand what the gravity of that, you'll see the supply shrink and the price explode. So very much looking forward to that over the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, amazing. And I think what you just said hits the mark. Retail has not even come back to the space yet. It always happens where you and I start getting our phones and messages blowing up with our friends and family. They come back about every 4 years or so. Hey, is it time to get in? Is it time to get in? And we haven't seen that necessarily yet. And so I believe we're kind of at that cusp of this happening. But if you really look at the long-term perspective, exactly what you said, I mean, it's a great time to get started. Let's segment over a little bit because you have some teachings where you teach people how to take that wealth and do other things with it with other types of assets. And by the way, we're going to put links down below because you do have a little bit more detailed training to teach people more about this. We're just going to touch on a highlight, but we will put some links down below for those of you guys want more from Max to learn about this, how to actually expand this wealth. So just talk about that briefly, and then we can talk about the link and people that want to check out more about it.
Yeah, so this is kind of an annual event. I generally do it once a year. I think every now and again I'll do it twice a year, but generally once per year only. I will do this free live webinar where I just lay out the whole macroeconomic landscape. And I talk about actually five major asset classes, and that is it's cryptocurrency, it is cash, it is precious metals, it is real estate, and it's the stock market. And during that whole presentation, what I do is I teach you how to understand these cycles, which ones are leading indicators, which ones are lagging indicators, and how things sometimes get out of phase. And that presents us with an enormous opportunity. I really warn people against labeling themselves. I'm a crypto guy. I'm a real estate guy. I'm a trader guy. Because what that means is you have to ride those markets up and down and up and down. And if you're very, very good, then you can make money in all kinds of markets in any given industry. That's absolutely true. I find it so much easier to just rather than try and be an absolute hero in this one industry, I just try to understand at a very high level, with a macro level, what's happening in the market. Because when you do that, what you can do is you can ride this next 12 months of Bitcoin. It's going to go very, very steep, very, very high, and the price is going to rocket up. But at the same time, I think you'll see some other asset classes that are collapsing. And when it's time to jump out of your Bitcoin and go down into some other asset class that's just finished crashing, now you get to ride that one up. And that what that does is it's called stacking the booms. Because if you don't stack the booms, what happens is you write it up and then you write it down, and you watch someone else and they write it up and they write it down. You don't really get ahead. Now, if you're in Bitcoin, you do get ahead because it's the best performing asset. But you're losing a lot of power by writing it down and not jumping into some other asset class that's going to go up. So I kind of teach all of that in a very, very powerful presentation that I only do once per year. And the track record of that is just been absolutely phenomenal. I've called and predicted, all of the major booms and busts for a lot of different asset classes over the years. And it's just people just absolutely love that event. Look forward to it every year. And so yeah, it's by the way, it's not open to the public. It's a closed invitation only event, and I only allow people to do it who come from other trusted people who mentor other people, other trusted teachers like you, Joel. That way, I can go to the really important stuff really fast. Because if I have it open, what happens is I've got a lot of newbies in there. All of a sudden, I've got to explain to them what Bitcoin is, what interest rates are,
Right.
what inflation is. All of that stuff is assumed knowledge. It's quite high level. Won't be for your students, but it's quite high level, and I get straight to the important stuff very, very quickly and lay out a plan of what's going to happen over the next 12 months with all of the different asset classes.
Oh, excellent. Really looking forward to it. And if you guys are watching this video, make sure you guys take advantage. We'll put some links somewhere down below in the video so that you guys can take advantage of this and get onto this workshop. You guys definitely want to check it out. So I'm really looking forward to that, Max. Hey, all right. So let's have some fun here. Predictions. Do you feel like giving us a prediction? And then I'll give you mine as well. But do you have any,
Oh,
like, everyone always says that. What do you think Bitcoin's going to get to this
yeah,
cycle,
sure. No, it's always fun to play those games. So this is regard to this cycle. Where's it going to get
Yeah.
to, or timing, or
Yeah,
both?
let's say this cycle here and maybe timing just for fun. And then
Well,
again,
I think it's a very common one, but I think $1 million by 2030 is a pretty good one.
mhm.
If we got to around the $200,000 to $300,000 mark this time, I think that would be a really good fun place to be. So I would say let's say by the end of this cycle around the 200 to 300,000 mark.
Yeah. Great, great. That's actually that's how I feel as well. So I think that we're gonna do that. And whether it falls halfway between that or somewhere in that range, they can never guarantee. But I will say this. Um, don't sit on the sidelines. If you're watching this, don't sit on the sidelines and just let it watch you by. Because that's what happens every single time. There you have people and I have friends and people that I'll get in, I'll get in eventually. I'll get in eventually. I'll get in eventually. And they just never do it. And what's happening is your wealth is just dissolving away. And if you don't get involved in Bitcoin, if you don't get involved in these other assets, like what Max was just talking about, you're just going to get left behind. Life is going to get harder and harder for you and your family. So it's time to really take some action in your life. So give you a little plug there, Max, for your workshop, and I'm excited to see it myself.
Thank you very much. And you're 100% right. Ricky Boppy had it right in the world of finance. If you're not winning, you're losing.
Yeah,
And if you are not making, because they are printing money like crazy, governments are out of control, not going to get sorted out anytime soon. And so that means your wealth is being eroded. So even if you don't, people understand inflation for the first time in like a long time. The last
yeah,
couple of years of inflation, people go, oh, I get it. I'm still making the same amount of money, but I'm poorer. That's been happening your whole life, just to a smaller degree. You haven't noticed it. It really kicked in the last couple of years. So people really get it now. If you are not winning, you are losing. So you have to take steps to start winning, or you're going to be in big trouble in this world. So yeah, what I would suggest everybody is click that link below in the description. Go through and register for the webinar presentation that I'm doing this week only. It's the once a year event. You really want to do that. Take advantage of that for sure. But then also in the link below, what we're going to do now is we're going to jump over to my channel and I'm going to interview Joel, and we're going to find out all of Joel's perspective on the entire Bitcoin market and the macroeconomic landscape as well. So two links in the description of this video you definitely want to click. Anything else, Joel?
yeah. I think that's it, guys. Make sure you guys go click the links. And Max, we'd love to have you back on in the future for another interview. Does that sound good?
Absolutely. Love to be there.
Perfect, guys. Click the links, and we'll see you on Max's channel. Go watch that video. Take care, guys. Bye bye.
So yeah.
Thanks for watching the Crypto Code. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more crypto insights. Let me know your thoughts on today's video in the comments below. You can also check out what we do here at the Crypto Code by registering for one of our free workshops where we show you how we and our students profit in crypto, no matter if the markets are up or down. If you register for the workshop, you also get access to a free weekly trade alert. Attend our free workshop, take a short quiz at the end, and we will send you $10 in Bitcoin. No purchase needed. We've already given away hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin just this year alone. Just look for the link in the description of this video to register for the workshop. It will be worth your time. Our public trade record currently has a 90% win rate, and you can view it here. Best of luck with your investments, and remember to stay informed and stay safe in the crypto world. See you next time.